34 years old, finally free from the patriarchal institution of marriage. Divorced 2 years ago, and honestly, it was the best decision I ever made. Mike was the embodiment of everything I've come to understand about male entitlement, always there with his needs and his feelings and his constant demand for emotional labor, sitting in my apartment scrolling through my phone on a Tuesday night. The apartment is smaller than our old house, but it's mine, a space liberated from male ownership and control. No more compromising on stupid leather couches or sports memorabilia, the material culture of masculinity cluttering up the living room. My friend Sarah texts me asking if I've seen Mike lately. Tell her no, and why would I participate in surveillance of my ex-husband? She sends me a link to some local news article. It's about a charity marathon, and there's a photo. My stomach drops. There he is, Mike. But he looks different. He's thinner, healthier, his smile reaches his eyes in a way I don't remember seeing in years. There's a woman next to him, her hand on his arm, laughing at something. They're holding a banner for some organization they apparently founded together. She's already been absorbed into his identity, I think. Close the article immediately. My hands are shaking, and I don't know why. This doesn't bother me. I'm over him. I've been over him since my consciousness was raised about what marriage actually is. Open a bottle of wine, even though it's only 7 p.m., start thinking about when I finally saw Mike clearly. Actually, no. The problem was the institution itself. That's what my reading group helped me understand. He was so needy, always wanting to talk about our relationship and work through issues. Classic male emotional dumping, expecting me to manage his psychological well-being. Pour another glass. Remember how he used to wake up early on weekends to make breakfast, and I told him it was patronizing. He thought he was being helpful, but really, he was performing benevolent sexism. Trying to position himself as provider, reinforcing traditional gender roles. The eggs were always too runny anyway. Open Facebook, even though I know I shouldn't. Find Mike's profile, which I swore I'd never look at again. His privacy settings are different than they used to be, more restricted. Probably his new girlfriend's influence. Women are always managing men's public image, can only see his profile picture. It's him and that woman from the article. They're hiking somewhere beautiful, mountains in the background. He's looking at her instead of the camera. She hasn't realized yet that heterosexual romance is just repackaged oppression. Feel this weird tightness in my chest. This is stupid. I'm being stupid. I was the one who wanted the divorce. I was the one who finally understood that marriage is a patriarchal institution designed to control women's sexuality and labor. Remember the day I told him I wanted out. He actually cried, performing. Emotional vulnerability to manipulate me, sitting at our kitchen table with his head in his hands. It was embarrassing to watch a grown man deploy tears as a weapon. He kept asking what he could do differently, what he could change. That was the problem right there. He didn't get it. The issue wasn't individual behavior. It was structural. You can't reform patriarchy from within. That's what Andrea Dworkin taught us. Emotional labor, always expected to manage his feelings and educate him on every little thing. I'd just finished reading The Second Sex, and de Beauvoir's analysis of women as other finally made everything clear. Pour another glass. The bottle is half empty now. Start scrolling further back on his limited profile information. He works at the same company, but apparently got promoted to senior management. Of course, the patriarchal dividend in action. Mediocre men rising, while women do the actual work. I used to tell him it was because he wasn't assertive enough, but really, I was trying to help him see his male privilege. Maybe he finally stopped pretending to be egalitarian and embraced his structural advantages. Check the time. It's almost 9. Haven't eaten dinner, but the wine is filling enough. Text my friend Rachel asking if she wants to meet up this week. She responds 3 hours later saying she's really busy with her kids. Rachel has been distant since the divorce, couldn't handle my political evolution. Her husband probably feels threatened by a woman who's rejected the nuclear family model. Mike always got along well with her husband, bonding over their mutual investment in patriarchy. Whatever, I don't need friends who can't understand that the personal is political. Think about calling my mum, but she'll just ask if I'm dating anyone. She loved Mike, completely brainwashed by romance ideology. Kept asking me if I was sure about the divorce right up until it was finalized. He's such a good man, she kept saying. Good men don't exist within oppressive systems, only men who benefit from them in different ways. The wine bottle is empty now. Open another one from the rack. It's a nice Pinot Noir I was saving for a special occasion. This isn't a special occasion, and anyway, the idea that women should defer gratification is just more patriarchal conditioning. Remember how Mike used to comment on my drinking? He'd do it in that joking way, but I could hear the male policing of female pleasure underneath. Told him that controlling women's consumption is a form of patriarchal discipline. Cited studies about how women's drinking is judged more harshly than men's. He stopped commenting after that, but I could see him noticing the male gaze at work, even in our own home. It made the wine taste worse, knowing I was being surveilled. Start going through old photos on my phone, not sure why. There's one from our honeymoon in Greece. We're on a boat, and Mike has his arms around me, both of us sunburned and happy. Didn't realize then that I was participating in the white Western tourist appropriation of Greek culture. Or that honeymoons themselves are rituals that normalize female sexual availability to husbands. I remember being annoyed that he kept wanting to take photos. The male need to possess and document to create evidence of ownership. There's another photo from his sister's wedding. I'm in a blue dress that I actually liked. Mike is in a suit. His hand is on my waist, and I'm leaning away slightly. Didn't notice that at the time, but now I can see my body already resisting. Already knowing on some level that marriage would mean the legal erasure of my personhood. He should have picked up on that, should have questioned why I was uncomfortable. But men don't read women's bodies, they just assume consent. Keep scrolling. Christmas morning, 3 years ago. Mike is holding up a book I'd mentioned wanting once in passing months before. He looked so proud of himself for remembering. I thanked him, but pointed out that I'd already bought it for myself. Even then, I was practicing economic independence, refusing to let him be the provider. His face fell, and he said he should have checked with me first. Told him that would have ruined the surprise anyway, so there was no winning. The whole gift-giving ritual is just capitalism wrapped in patriarchal expectations. He got quiet after that, probably sulking because I wouldn't perform appropriate feminine gratitude. My mother asked me later why I'd been so harsh. Harsh, the word they always use when women refuse to perform emotional caretaking. Finish the second glass from the new bottle. Realize I'm crying, and I don't know when that started. This is ridiculous. I'm not sad about Mike. I'm angry at the system that made me think marriage was necessary for my fulfillment. Open Instagram, which is a mistake. Somehow end up on the woman's profile. The one from the article. Her name is Jessica. She's a physical therapist. Her feed is full of hiking photos, farmers market trips, pictures of homemade bread. Performing traditional femininity, completely colonized by patriarchal domesticity. There's a photo from 2 weeks ago. She's wearing Mike's old college sweatshirt, the one he used to wear every weekend until I finally threw it away because it was ratty and embarrassing. Apparently, he had another one. She's literally wearing his clothes. The symbolism couldn't be more obvious. She's written some caption about lazy Sunday mornings and feeling grateful. The language of female submission dressed up as choice. It has 200 likes. Scroll back further into her feed, looking for when Mike first appears. There he is, about 18 months ago. So he moved on quickly. Probably had her lined up before the divorce was even final. Men always do. They can't exist without a woman to perform domestic and emotional labor. Tentative at first, just in group photos, then more frequent, more intimate. There's one of them cooking together, her standing at the stove while he chops vegetables behind her. The kitchen is small, looks like an apartment kitchen. She's already taken on the cooking, the feeding, the nourishing. Women are socialized from birth to feed men. Another photo of them at some outdoor concert, his arm around her shoulders, his arm draped possessively, marking territory. She's looking up at him with this expression that I can't quite name. Admiration, maybe, or trust, or just the learned helplessness women are conditioned to display. The kind of look I used to give him, probably, back before I read Firestone and understood that romance is the pivot of women's oppression. Pour another glass. My head is starting to hurt, but I keep drinking anyway. Remember the fights we used to have. Fights is the wrong word. Political education sessions, where I tried to raise his consciousness and he resisted. Like the time he wanted to go visit his parents for Thanksgiving instead of hosting at our place. Tried to explain to him that his mother's performance of family togetherness was just reproducing patriarchal structures. He said his mom was having health problems and wanted us to come home. Told him he was being manipulated and couldn't see it. Maternal sacrifice is how the patriarchy reproduces itself, generation after generation. We went to his parents' house, and I was proved right when his mother was perfectly fine. She made his favorite foods and fussed over him like he was still a child, training him to expect domestic servitude from women. It was pathetic to watch. I spent most of the weekend working on my laptop, taking calls in the guest bedroom, refusing to participate in the ritual subordination of women to family. Mike got upset and said I was being rude to his family. explained that my job doesn't stop for holidays and that women's professional ambitions are always sacrificed to family obligations. Cited Hochschild's work on the second shift. He slept on the couch that night. His mother asked him the next morning if everything was okay between us. He lied and said everything was fine. Couldn't even be honest with his own mother about how I was helping him see his privilege. The wine is making everything fuzzy around the edges. Check Jessica's Instagram again. I've been on her profile for 45 minutes. There's a recent photo of her and Mike at a wedding. She's in a green dress, he's in a grey suit I don't recognize. They're dancing and someone caught them mid-laugh. His hand is on her back and she's leaning into him. Their body language shows how completely she's been absorbed into the institution. Read the caption. Something about celebrating love with favourite people. Love, that word we use to obscure women's unpaid labour. Someone commented, "You two are next." Jessica replied with a blushing emoji. So she's going to do it, going to legally bind herself to him. Going to take his name, probably. Erase her own identity. Feel my chest get tight again. Mike wanted to get married. Young, I was the one who made us wait. Told him we needed to be more established first, more financially secure. Really, I was resisting even then, without the framework to understand why. We waited 4 years before I finally agreed. Even then, I wasn't sure, but the social pressure on women to marry is immense. The wedding was nice. I planned most of it myself, because Mike didn't have strong opinions. Another red flag I ignored, his passivity in the face of patriarchal rituals. Men let women do all the emotional and organizational labor of weddings, then show up and get credit. We honeymooned in Greece, because I'd always wanted to go. Mike suggested Peru, but I convinced him that Greece was more culturally significant. He seemed happy enough on the trip, even though he got food poisoning halfway through. Spent 2 days in the hotel bathroom while I toured Athens alone. Felt like a metaphor for our whole relationship, him being weak while I tried to experience life. My phone dies, probably for the best. Get up to plug it in, and the room spins a little. Definitely drank too much. Catch my reflection in the hallway mirror. My hair is in a messy bun, and I'm wearing sweatpants with a stain on them. When did I last shower? Was it yesterday or the day before? During the marriage, I always made an effort with my appearance. Had to perform femininity, had to be decorative for the male gaze. Now that I'm free, I can reject beauty standards. Freedom looks like stained sweatpants, apparently. And that's fine, that's the point. Women spend so much time and money on appearance to please men. Go to the bathroom and the sink is full of dishes. Been meaning to run the dishwasher, but I never have enough dishes to make it worthwhile. Living alone means rejecting the domestic expectations placed on women. No one to cook for, no one to clean up after, no one performing surveillance of my household management. Splash water on my face and avoid looking at myself too closely. Go back to the couch and plug in my phone. While it's charging, I think about when I really started to wake up. There was the incident with his job. He came home excited one day, said he'd been offered a promotion. It meant longer hours, but significantly more money and responsibility. I was proud of him initially, still trapped in the mindset that men's careers matter. Then he mentioned it would mean missing some evenings and occasional weekends. Asked me how I felt about that, as if he needed my permission. The way men pretend to consult women, while actually just seeking validation. Told him to make his own decisions like an adult. He took the job and suddenly was gone more. Complained to him that he was never home, never available. He looked confused, reminded me I'd encouraged him to take the promotion, explained that I was critiquing the structure that makes men choose career over family. But really, I was starting to see that having him around less was actually freeing. That's when he started, looking tired all the time. Eyes red, shoulders slumped, moving through the house like a ghost. Asked him what was wrong and he said he was just stressed with work. Told him that everyone deals with stress, that he needed to manage it better. Suggested he try meditation or exercise or therapy. Honestly, was just tired of managing his emotions on top of everything else. He started running in the mornings before work. Would come back sweaty and shower while I was getting ready. It threw off my whole routine, his body and needs taking up space in my morning. Mentioned this to him, and he started showering at the gym instead. Then I barely saw him in the mornings at all. Started to feel like we were roommates, not spouses. Which is when I started going to the Feminist reading group. Brought this up one night over dinner. He put down his fork and asked what I wanted from him. Told him I wanted a partner who understood that marriage is a patriarchal institution, that we were participating in a system designed to subordinate women. He said he was trying his best to be what I needed while also succeeding at work like I'd encouraged. That's when I knew he would never understand. He was too invested in his male privilege to see it. If I had to explain it, then what was the point? My phone finishes charging enough to turn back on. Flood of notifications, mostly promotional emails. One text from my coworker asking if I want to get lunch tomorrow. She's nice enough, but she's always talking about her boyfriend. Every story begins with Jake and I this, or Jake thinks that. She's completely lost herself in heterosexual romance. It's exhausting being around women who've been so colonized by patriarchy. Text back that I'm busy. Actually have a meeting for the women's collective I joined. We're organizing a protest against the new abortion restrictions. This is the work that matters, not individual romantic relationships. Open a delivery app and order Thai food, even though I'm not really hungry. Just feel like I should eat something to soak up the wine. While I'm waiting, I go back to Mike's Facebook. Send a friend request before I can think better of it. Immediately regret it and try to cancel, but it's already sent. Stare at my phone in horror. What am I doing? Why do I care? This is insane. He probably won't even accept it. We haven't spoken since the divorce was finalized, since I told him I was done participating in the legal ownership of women by men. The food arrives and I eat it mechanically, not tasting anything. Check my phone every few minutes. No response to the friend request. Obviously, because he's probably out with Jessica performing couplehood. Farmers market at night? Is that a thing? Maybe they're at a pottery class or a wine tasting or volunteering at an animal shelter, the kind of wholesome heteronormative activities that mask power imbalances. Remember when Mike used to suggest date nights? Dinner and a movie, walks in the park, cooking classes. Told him we didn't need to perform romance like we were in a commercial. If our relationship needed that kind of propping up, then something was fundamentally wrong. Which it was. The fundamental wrongness of marriage itself. He stopped suggesting things after a while. Our date nights became me, working late while he watched TV alone. Sometimes I'd come home and he'd be asleep on the couch. Wouldn't even wake up when I came in, just keep sleeping. Felt like he was avoiding me in our own home. Or maybe he was just exhausted from trying to exist in proximity to someone who was constantly critiquing him. Finish eating, and the apartment feels very quiet. Turn on the TV for background noise. Some romantic comedy I've seen before. The couple on screen is fighting about something trivial. They'll make up by the end, they always do. Movies are propaganda for the romance industrial complex. They teach women that love conquers all, that we should sacrifice ourselves. Real relationships are complicated and difficult and structured by gender oppression. Most people aren't equipped to see the water they're swimming in. Check my phone again. Mike accepted my friend request. My heart starts racing. Can see his full profile now. All the photos I couldn't see before. There are so many of him and Jessica. Hiking, traveling, at parties with friends I don't recognize. Cooking together, sitting on a couch, reading, at the beach. His smile in every single photo looks genuine. Or maybe he's just better at performing happiness now. Scroll back to photos from when we were married. There are fewer of us together than I remember. Most of his photos from that time are of places or things. Sunset from our backyard, the garden he tried to start, his parents' dog. Find one of us together at a friend's barbecue. I'm on my phone in the photo. Mike is looking at something off camera. We're standing next to each other, but might as well be miles apart. I was probably reading something for the feminist theory class I was taking online. Another photo from our last anniversary. We went to an expensive restaurant because I wanted to try it. Mike is smiling at the camera, but his eyes look sad. He was already mourning the relationship, already giving up. I'm looking perfect, hair and makeup done professionally. Still performing femininity, still trapped. We look like strangers forced to take a photo together, which we were, really, strangers bound by a legal contract. Find a photo from just a few months before the divorce. It's from some work event I dragged him to. He's in a suit, standing awkwardly while I talk to my colleagues. Someone tagged him in the comments the patient husband. He'd liked the comment, patient, like enduring something difficult, which he was, enduring my political awakening. Finish the rest of the wine in my glass. See that Mike posted something an hour ago. It's a photo of a homemade dinner, 2 plates on a small table. Caption says grateful for simple pleasures and great company. Jessica commented with a heart emoji. His coworker commented, "You two are disgustingly cute." Mike replied, "Can't help it." Stare at this exchange for a long time. Mike was never playful like this with me. Always so serious and worried, walking on eggshells. That was his choice though, his response to a woman who refused to coddle him. Or maybe that's what happens when you try to have a political analysis in your personal life. Start scrolling through my own Facebook, looking at what I've posted in the last 2 years. Articles about workplace equality, shares from feminist activists, links to political theory. a photo of my apartment when I first moved in, a selfie from 6 months ago at a protest, posts about reproductive justice, the wage gap, male violence. No photos with friends, no check-ins at restaurants, no life updates. My feed is a timeline of political awakening, consciousness raising through social media, but also nothing personal, nothing that shows connection. Remember, Mike used to complain that I lived too much in my head, said I was always thinking about big abstract concepts but missing what was right in front of me. Told him that some people are capable of seeing beyond their immediate circumstances. That structural analysis requires distance from the personal. He said he wasn't asking me to see less, just to also see what was near. Didn't understand what he meant at the time. Still don't, probably. The personal is political, but maybe I made the political so consuming it ate the personal. Check the time, it's past midnight. Have work tomorrow, but feel wired despite the wine. Go to my bedroom and get into bed with my phone. Pull up old text messages with Mike, scroll back to the months before the divorce. Most of the texts are logistical. Who's picking up groceries? What time will you be home? Did you call the plumber? Find one exchange from a particularly bad week, right after I'd finished reading Catherine McKinnon. Can we talk when you get home? I'm worried about us. I'm tired of these conversations. We need to talk about the structural issues, not just our feelings. I feel like we're falling apart, and I don't know how to fix it. Maybe it's not fixable. Maybe marriage itself is the problem. Have you read any of the books I gave you? I started the Dworkin, but it's really dense. I don't understand how this relates to us. That's the problem. You don't see how we're embedded in patriarchal structures. I'm trying to understand. Can you help me? It's not my job to educate you. That's emotional labor. You need to do the work yourself. He didn't respond after that. Came home that night and he was in bed pretending to sleep. Could tell he was pretending because his breathing wasn't right. Didn't push it because honestly, I was tired of trying to explain. Next morning he was already gone when I woke up. Left a note saying he'd be at his brother's for a few days. Felt relieved to have the house to myself. Used. The time to prepare for the divorce conversation. Scroll further back to earlier in our marriage. Find texts from our second year, before I'd really started reading feminist theory seriously. Thinking about you. Hope your presentation went well. No, it was fine. Just fine. You've been preparing for weeks. I don't need you to manage my emotional response to my professional life. Sorry, just wanted to show I care. I know you care. But the expectation that women should share everything with their husbands is a form of surveillance. Even then, I was starting to see it. Even then, I was resisting his attempts to know me fully. Scroll back further to when we were dating. Before I'd taken that women's studies class that changed everything. I miss you, even though I just saw you yesterday. Is that crazy? A little crazy, but I'll allow it. What are you doing this weekend? Work stuff, probably. You? Was hoping to see you, but I understand if you're busy. We'll see. We'll see. It's better than no. Even back then, I was withholding. Even back then, I was maintaining boundaries. Was I always like this? Or did the feminist theory just give me language for what I already felt? Try to think about relationships before Mike. Dated casually in college, nothing serious. Had one boyfriend my senior year who broke up with me. Said I was emotionally unavailable, which seemed like therapy speak. Told him he was projecting his own issues onto me. Now I wonder if he was just responding to my already forming analysis. That romantic love is a trap for women. Dated around in my 20s, lots of first dates that didn't go anywhere. Guys would seem interested initially, then fade away. Assumed they were intimidated by my intelligence or career ambitions. Or maybe they could sense I was questioning the whole enterprise. Mike was different, stuck around, even when I gave him reasons not to. Thought that meant he was strong, resilient. Now I see he was just more deeply invested in the institution, more committed to making it work, despite my resistance. My therapist asked me once why I chose Mike. This was before I understood that therapy itself is often a tool of patriarchal normalization. Told her I didn't really choose him, we just sort of happened. She asked what I meant, explained that he pursued me persistently, and eventually I agreed to date him. She wrote something down in her notebook, asked what she was writing, and she said just notes. Probably noting my inability to commit or some other pathologizing framework. Stopped seeing that therapist shortly after. Started going to the women's collective meetings instead. That's where I really started to understand. Feel my eyes getting heavy, finally. Phone slips from my hand onto the bed. Wake up a few hours later, room is dark and my head is pounding. Phone is still on, battery almost dead again. See that I have a message notification. It's from Mike, sent 20 minutes ago. Sit up too fast and the room spins. Open. The message with shaking hands. Hey, saw you sent a friend request. Wasn't sure if it was intentional or accidental, but I accepted. Hope you're doing well. Stare at this message for a long time. Type and delete several responses. It was intentional sounds too eager. Accidental is a lie and also embarrassing. Thanks is too brief. Finally, settle on. Thanks. You seem to be doing well, too. He responds almost immediately. Must still be awake. I am. Life is good. How are you? Fine. Busy with activism? That sounds like you. I'm glad you're staying engaged with things that matter to you. I saw you got promoted. Congratulations on climbing the corporate ladder. Immediately regret the tone. Thank you. It's been a good change. I'm trying to use the position to push for better policies. Like what? Parental leave, pay equity, flexible work arrangements. I know you'd probably say it's not enough, and you'd be right, but it's something, not what I expected. That's good. Reform is limited, but it can help people. I remember you teaching me about the limits of reform. I think about our conversations sometimes. Do you? Long pause. He's typing and stopping. Typing and stopping. Yeah. You challenged me to think differently about a lot of things. I'm grateful for that, even though I know our marriage didn't work out. Don't know what to say to that. I challenged you too much, probably. Maybe. Or maybe I wasn't ready to hear it. Or maybe we just weren't right for each other. Marriage isn't right for anyone. It's a patriarchal institution. I know you believe that. I'm not sure I agree, but I respect your analysis. Feel frustrated. You're getting married again, though. To Jessica. We're engaged, yes. I know you think that's me participating in oppression, aren't you? Maybe. Or maybe I'm choosing to build a life with someone I love within the structures that exist. I'm not a theorist like you. I'm just trying to be happy. The words sting. Happiness within oppressive structures is complicity. Maybe. But misery within those same structures doesn't dismantle them either. Sit with this for a long moment. I'm sorry. That was harsh. I just mean that you seemed really unhappy when we were together, and it doesn't seem like leaving has made you happier. You don't know anything about my life now. You're right, I don't. I'm sorry for presuming. I'm not unhappy. I'm politically conscious. There's a difference. Okay, I hear you. Another pause. Listen, I reached out because you friended me, but I don't want to fight. I'm at peace with everything that happened. I hope you are, too, at peace. What does that even mean? How can anyone be at peace in a world structured by gender oppression? I'm at peace with my decision to leave the institution of marriage. Good. That's all anyone can ask for. Another pause. I should get to sleep. Early morning tomorrow. Take care of yourself. You too. Watch him go offline. Sit in the dark with my dying phone. He didn't defend. Himself, really. Didn't argue with my analysis. Just acknowledged it and moved on. Is that what we are now? People with incompatible worldviews? People who used to share a bed and a life, now reduced to political disagreements. Get up and go to the bathroom. Take 3 ibuprofen and drink water from the tap. Look at myself in the mirror. Really look this time. I've aged in the last 2 years. Lines around my eyes, grey hairs, I haven't bothered to colour. When did I stop caring about my appearance? This is freedom, I remind myself. Not having to perform femininity for anyone's benefit. Rejecting beauty standards that oppress women. But it doesn't feel like freedom at 3 a.m. with a headache and an empty apartment. Feels like something else. Go back to bed, but can't sleep. Think about the life Mike is building without me. Charity marathons and hiking trips and homemade dinners. Jessica in his old sweatshirt, probably going to take his name. Mike smiling genuinely, participating in structures I've rejected. All of it happening without me, in spite of me, because of my absence. Try to pinpoint when I became this person. The one who sees oppression in every gesture. The one who can't accept love because love itself is suspect. The one who's alone with her analysis. Think about the feminist reading group. We meet every Thursday at someone's apartment. Read theory, discuss politics, support each other. But also there's something missing. We analyze and critique and deconstruct. But we don't really share ourselves. Don't talk about feeling lonely or scared or uncertain. That would be weakness, or worse, complicity. Wonder what Mike saw in me at the beginning? Try to remember who I was when we first met. Younger, less certain about everything. He said he liked my confidence, my intelligence. Said I challenged him to think differently. When did challenging become lecturing? When did confidence become rigidity? My phone is charging again, still plugged in from earlier. Turn it on and look at Mike's message one more time. I hope you are too. Such a simple statement. He hopes I'm at peace. After everything I put him through, after telling him he was complicit in patriarchy, he still hopes I'm at peace. Feel something crack open in my chest. It's not a pleasant feeling. It feels like looking at your political commitments and wondering if they've cost you everything else. Get out of bed and go to the living room. My laptop is still on the coffee table from earlier. Open it and pull up the divorce papers, saved in a folder I haven't opened in months. Read through my list of complaints, irreconcilable differences, fundamental disagreement about the nature of marriage, grown apart, all true in a sense, but also incomplete. The real reason isn't in these papers. The real reason is that I couldn't accept being in an institution I'd come to see as oppressive. Mike knew me, really knew me, saw past the confidence and politics to the scared person, underneath, the person who needed the analysis to make sense of her inability to be vulnerable, the person who used feminism as a shield, the person who left before she could be disappointed. He saw all of that and loved me anyway, and I punished him for it. Every kind gesture was interrogated for patriarchal assumptions. Every attempt at intimacy was analyzed as male entitlement. Every expression of love was treated as ideology. Closed the laptop and put my head in my hands. The sun is starting to come up, grey light through the windows. Haven't slept at all. Think about calling in sick to work, but what would I do all day? Sit in this apartment with these thoughts. At least work is a distraction. Shower and dress mechanically. Catch the bus because my car is in the shop. Sit next to a couple who can't stop touching each other. Little touches, her hand on his knee, his shoulder against hers. Casual intimacy. I reject it as performance. Get to work early, office is mostly empty, make coffee and sit at my desk. Co-worker Jennifer comes in and asks how I'm doing. Tell her fine, and she lingers like she wants to say more. Finally asks if I want to get drinks after work. Almost say no automatically, but something makes me pause. Agree to drinks, and she looks surprised but pleased. Day passes in a blur of meetings and emails. Can't focus on anything. Keep thinking about Mike's message. Misery within those same structures doesn't dismantle them either. Meet Jennifer at a bar near the office. She orders a beer. I order wine. We talk about work for a while. Safe territory. Then she mentions her recent breakup. Says she's relieved it's over, but also grieving what could have been. Find myself actually listening instead of analyzing. Ask her what went wrong. She says she thinks they wanted different things. Said she spent so much time critiquing him that she forgot to actually be with him. Feel a jolt of recognition. She asks about my divorce, first time a co-worker has directly asked. Usually people dance around it, too polite or too uncomfortable. Tell her the basic facts, together for 8 years, married for 4, divorced 2 years ago. She asks if I'm dating anyone. Say no, and she asks if I want to be. The question catches me off guard. Do I want to be dating? Have been so focused on my political work that I haven't considered wanting something different. Tell her I don't know. She nods. Like this makes sense. Says her therapist told her that sometimes we use ideology to avoid vulnerability. Want to argue with her, but can't find the words. We have another drink and talk about other things. She tells me about her family, her hobbies, her plans to travel. Realize I haven't made a single plan beyond next week's protest schedule. Haven't thought about a future that looks different from the present. We part ways, and I walk home instead of taking the bus. Need the air, need to move, pass by restaurants and shops, people everywhere living their lives, couples on dates, families with kids, groups of friends laughing. Feel like I'm watching from outside a window. Have felt this way for a long time. Maybe always. Or maybe since I decided that participating meant complicity. Get home and the apartment feels especially empty. No wine tonight, just water and leftover Thai food. Sit on the couch and open Facebook again. Look at Mike's photos methodically this time, really examining them, trying to see what I couldn't see before. There's one from what looks like a dinner party. Mike and Jessica and 3 other couples around a table full of food. Everyone is laughing, mid-conversation. Mike has his hand on Jessica's shoulder, casual and comfortable. She's leaning back into him while talking to someone else. They're existing in the same space without tension. That's what was missing with us. Ease. Everything was effort, every interaction a potential site of political critique. Find another photo. Mike and Jessica hiking. They're sweaty and tired looking, but happy. Caption says something about challenging themselves with a difficult trail. Comments from friends saying they're inspirational, relationship goals, so happy for them. Nobody ever said that about Mike and me. People were always careful around us, like they could sense I might analyze their compliments for patriarchal assumptions. Scroll to a video Mike posted a few months ago. It's shaky phone footage of Jessica attempting to flip a pancake. She launches it too hard and it hits the ceiling. Both of them crack up laughing, the camera shaking. She tries again and succeeds, does a little victory dance. Mike's laugh in the background is full and unguarded. Don't think I ever heard him laugh like that. Our humor together was always sharp, political. We bonded over critiquing things, never with things. Watch the video 3 more times. There's something about the ease of it, the playfulness. They're just making breakfast and having fun. Such a simple thing that somehow we never managed. Think about breakfast with Mike. Me reading feminist blogs on my tablet, him eating quickly before work, occasionally attempting conversation that I'd redirect to political topics. He stopped trying to talk in the mornings eventually. We'd eat in silence, me consuming theory, him consuming food, called it respecting each other's autonomy. Really, it was just avoidance. Close Facebook and open my photos. Scroll back through 2 years of my life. Post-divorce, protest photos, meetings, occasional selfies at marches. One photo of a sunset from my window. A few photos of speakers at events I've attended. Nothing that shows connection or joy or life being lived outside of politics. Compare this to Mike's abundant timeline of experiences and people. He didn't just move on, he bloomed. Like a plant that was in soil too acidic and got transplanted somewhere neutral. The thought that I was the acidic soil is hard to sit with. Spent so long thinking of myself as the one who was awake, the one who saw clearly while everyone else was deluded. What if it was the opposite? What if I'm the deluded one? Using theory to avoid feeling, using politics to avoid connection, using feminism to justify isolation. Feel sick with this realization. Go to the bathroom and splash cold water on my face. Look at myself in the mirror again. Who are you? I ask my reflection. The woman staring back doesn't have an answer. Just theories, just analysis, just frameworks, but no self underneath. Go back to the couch and pull up my messages with Mike. Reread our conversation from last night. His kindness feels like an indictment. He has every reason to be angry. Instead, he's gentle, boundaried, moved on. Type out a new message before I can overthink it. I've been thinking about what you said. Wait, heart pounding. 10 minutes pass, 15. He's probably asleep, it's late. Or he's with Jessica doing something that doesn't involve his ex-wife. Finally, 3 dots appear. What about? About misery not dismantling structures. You were right. I don't think there's a right or wrong here. Just different approaches. I've been looking at your Facebook. I know that's weird, but I saw all your photos and I need you to know that I'm sorry. Sorry for what? For using politics as a weapon, for making you feel like everything you did was complicity. Long pause. I appreciate you saying that. It took me a long time to stop feeling guilty for just wanting to be happy. The words hit hard. Of course he felt guilty. I made sure of that. You shouldn't have felt guilty. You were just trying to love me. And you were just trying to make sense of the world. We both did the best we could. Even now he's being generous. No. I used my analysis to avoid vulnerability. I turned everything into a political issue so I wouldn't have to feel anything. Why are you telling me this now? Good question. Why now? After 2 years. Because I saw how happy you are, and I realized that I'm not. And I don't know if it's because I left you, or because I've made politics my entire life, or both. I can't answer that for you. But I will say that having a political analysis and having a life don't have to be mutually exclusive. They seem to be for me. Then maybe it's not about the politics. Maybe it's about how you use them. What do you mean? I mean, you were doing the same thing before you got really into feminism. Using work, using ambition, using whatever was available to keep people at a distance. Sit with this. Is he right? Maybe. I've done a lot of therapy. Learned that people do things for reasons. Your reasons made sense to you. What were my reasons? I think you'd have to figure that out yourself. But if I had to guess, I'd say you were scared of needing anyone. I'm still scared. Sending this feels like jumping off a cliff. Admitting fear. Admitting weakness. Things my political framework says I shouldn't have to do. Scared of what? Of being known? Of being loved? Of being disappointed? All of it. That makes sense. I was scared too, in different ways. You seem not scared now. I'm less scared. Therapy helped. So did meeting someone who I felt safe with. Jessica? Yes. Do you think I'll ever feel safe with anyone? I don't know. Do you want to? Do I have spent 2 years telling myself I don't need partnership, that I'm complete on my own, that romantic love is a patriarchal trap. But sitting here alone at midnight, I'm not sure anymore. I don't know what I want. That's honest at least. Are you happy? Really? Yes, I really am. Didn't think I would be. But I am. I'm glad. You deserved better than what I gave you. We both deserved better than what we had together. I hope you find whatever that looks like for you. What if I can't? What if I'm too broken? You're not broken. You're just scared. There's a difference. How do you know? Because broken people don't apologize. They don't question themselves. You're doing both. The Feminist collective would say I'm internalizing patriarchal expectations by questioning myself. Maybe. Or maybe some self-examination is healthy, regardless of the framework. I don't know how to do this without the framework. It's all I have. It doesn't have to be all you have. It can be part of how you see the world without being the only way. But if I give it up, what's left? You don't have to give it up. Just make room for other things too. I don't know if I can then maybe start there. Not knowing is okay. The collective would say that not knowing is privilege, that clarity is political necessity. What do you say? No one has asked me that in a long time. What do I say? Separate from the theory, separate from the collective. I say I'm lonely. Typing this makes me start crying. Real tears, not political tears, not analytical tears. I'm sorry you're lonely. Are you? You should be happy I'm suffering after what I did to you. I'm not happy you're suffering. I never wanted that. Why not? Because I loved you. Part of me still cares about you, even though we're not together. How? After everything? Because you're a person. Imperfect, scared, trying to make sense of things. Like everyone else. I thought I was making sense of things. Now I don't know. That's growth. Even if it doesn't feel like it, it feels like falling apart. Maybe that's what you need. To fall apart so you can put yourself back together differently. I don't know how. Therapy helped me. I know you stopped going because you thought it was normalizing, but maybe find someone who gets your politics? Maybe. And maybe talk to people outside the collective sometimes. Get different perspectives. Like who? I don't know. Co-workers? Other friends? People who care about politics but aren't consumed by them? I don't really have those people anymore. Then maybe start there too. This all sounds really hard. It is hard. But being where you are sounds hard too. Can't argue with that. Yeah. Long pause. I should go. Jessica's wondering who I'm texting with. You told her it's me. Of course. We don't have secrets, the casual way he says this. Like transparency is just normal. That's good. I'm glad you have that. You could have it too. If you wanted it, I don't know how to want it without seeing it as oppression. Then maybe that's the work. Learning to distinguish between structural critique and personal connection. The personal is political though. Yes. But the political doesn't have to consume the personal entirely. I'll think about that. Good. And hey, you can message me if you need to. I'm not trying to be your therapist, but I don't hate you. We can be civil. Thank you. That's more than I deserve. Everyone deserves basic kindness. Even you. He goes offline. Sit with my phone in my hands for a long time. The conversation plays back in my mind. His gentleness, his boundaries, his peace. All things he found after leaving me. Look around my apartment with fresh eyes. It's not decorated how I want. It's decorated to prove I don't care about domesticity. It's not freedom. It's a political statement that I have to live in. I've been calling loneliness resistance. Calling isolation political consciousness. Calling emotional unavailability feminist praxis. Get up and walk through the rooms. Kitchen with dishes in the sink, because cleaning is women's work. Bedroom with clothes on the floor because tidiness is patriarchal conditioning. Bathroom with expired makeup because beauty standards are oppressive. Living room with just a couch and a TV because consumption is capitalism. This is what I chose. This is what I built. The right to be alone and politically pure and slowly disappearing. Sit back down and think about what Mike said. About using politics to avoid vulnerability. About being scared before I even had the framework. Think about my parents. My mother, brilliant and angry, always critiquing my father. My father, quiet and checked out, working late to avoid her. Their marriage a cold war. Swore I would never be like them. Yet here I am, alone like my mother, using different words for the same isolation. Think about the feminist collective, the other women, all brilliant, all angry, all alone. We meet every Thursday and analyze the world. But we don't share ourselves, don't ask each other how we're really doing. Don't acknowledge that maybe our political commitments are also defenses. Think about the books I've read. Dworkin, McKinnon, Firestone, de Beauvoir. All of them brilliant, all of them seeing clearly, but also all of them struggling with connection in different ways. What if the clarity came at a cost? What if seeing the structures makes it harder to live within them? But we have to live within them. There's no outside, so maybe Mike is right. Maybe the work is learning to hold both, the analysis and the living, the political and the personal, the clarity and the connection. Open my laptop and search for therapists. This time, I look for someone who lists feminism as a specialty, someone who might understand both the politics and the pain. Find one whose bio talks about integrating political awareness with emotional growth. Book an appointment for next week before I can change my mind. Put my phone down and sit in the silence. It's different now, the silence. Before it felt like purity, proof of my political commitment. Now, it just feels empty. Think about Mike making Jessica laugh over pancakes. Think about the ease in their photos, the joy. Think about how he looks at her. Really looks at her, not through a lens of critique. The way he used to look at me before I taught him everything was suspect. Wonder if it's too late for me. Too late to learn how to hold my politics more lightly. Too late to want connection without seeing it as weakness. Therapist appointment is next week. Between now and then is just me and this apartment and these thoughts. Check the time, it's after 2 a.m. Should sleep, but no I won't. Open my laptop and start writing. Not sure what I'm writing, just letting it pour out. All the things I've been avoiding. All the ways I've used feminism to avoid feeling. All the fear that drove every political argument and every pushed away person. Write for hours until the sun comes up, pages and pages of confession and questioning. Realize I'm not writing theory, I'm writing myself. The self I've been avoiding for years. The one who's terrified of being vulnerable. The one who destroys things before they can disappoint her. The one who chose political clarity over human connection and is now wondering if it had to be either or. Save the document and close my laptop. Feel exhausted, but also slightly lighter, like maybe naming the problem is the first step towards something different. Get ready for work, shower and dress carefully. Put on makeup for the first time in weeks. Not for the male gaze, just for myself. Or maybe I don't have to justify it at all. Look at myself in the mirror and practice softening my expression. It feels fake, but maybe fake is where you start. Get to work, and Jennifer asks how I'm doing. Instead of saying fine or launching into political analysis, I pause. Tell her I'm struggling with some things. She nods and says if I ever want to talk, she's available. Feel grateful for the offer. Actually consider taking her up on it. Day passes more clearly than yesterday. Actually focus in meetings, contribute ideas without critiquing every assumption. Co-worker mentions a company happy hour next week. Usually I skip these, see them as corporate control mechanisms. This time, I say, I'll try to make it. He looks surprised, but pleased. Leave work at a normal hour instead of staying late. Go to a bookstore on the way home. Browse the self-help section, something I would have mocked as depoliticized. Pick up a book about attachment styles, another about holding paradox. Buy both without overthinking it. Get home, and instead of turning on the news, I read. The attachment book describes different patterns: anxious, avoidant, secure. Recognize myself in the avoidant description. People who pull away when others get close. Who value independence above connection. Who grew up learning that needing people is dangerous. Think about my mother, emotionally distant and critical. My father, absent even when physically present. Learned early that asking for love led to disappointment. Easier to not ask, to not need. Learned later that I could make it political, could call it feminist consciousness instead of just fear. But fear doesn't become less fearful when you theorize it. Read until my eyes are tired. Actually sleep that night. First real sleep in days. Wake up early and make myself breakfast. Sit at the table instead of standing at the counter. Eat slowly, tasting the food. Small thing, but it feels significant. Taking time, being present. Things I used to mock as depoliticized self-care. Week passes in a similar pattern. Work, reading, small attempts at being more present. Thursday comes and I have Feminist collective meeting. Almost don't go, feel resistant for the first time. But I go, sit in the circle, listen to the discussion. We're reading McKinnon on sexuality. Brilliant analysis, sharp critique. But as we discuss, I notice something. The way we all relate to the text, but not to each other. The way we use theory to avoid talking about our lives. The way political clarity substitutes for connection. Speak up for the first time in weeks. Say that I've been thinking about how we use politics, whether it can become a defense against vulnerability. The room goes quiet, some women look uncomfortable. One woman, Sarah, says that sounds like false consciousness, that we're not using politics, we're politicized. Another woman, Angela, says actually she's been thinking the same thing, that she wonders sometimes if her commitment to staying single is political or just fear. The room divides, some women angry at the suggestion, some women nodding, looking relieved. The facilitator tries to mediate, says both things can be true. We can have genuine political commitments and also personal fears. Meeting ends, earlier than usual, tension unresolved. Angela catches up with me outside, asks if I want to get coffee. We go to a nearby cafe. She tells me she's been in the collective for 5 years, hasn't been in a relationship in 7, used to think it was because she was too radical for partnership, now wonders if she's too scared. I tell her about Mike, about the divorce, about seeing him happy. She listens without judgment, says she relates to all of it. We talk for 2 hours, about politics and fear and loneliness and wondering. Exchange numbers, make plans to meet again. Feel something shift. Connection through shared questioning instead of shared certainty. Therapy appointment arrives. The therapist's office is warm, plants everywhere. She's younger than I expected, queer, has a pride, flag, and a Combahee River collective poster. Feels slightly less defensive. She asks why I'm there. Tell her about the divorce, about using politics to avoid vulnerability, about being lonely. She listens without trying to depoliticize my experience, asks what I want from therapy. Say I want to learn how to hold my politics without them holding me. She says that's good work, hard work. We talk for the full hour. She gives me homework, asks me to notice when I use theory to avoid feeling. Just notice, not change yet, just observe. Leave feeling raw, but not dismissed, like maybe this is possible. Weeks turn into months. Therapy becomes routine, uncomfortable, but necessary. Start to see patterns in my behavior, the way I analyze to create distance, the way I critique to avoid being critiqued, the way I've been running my whole life, just with different justifications. Therapist asks if I'm interested in dating, say no, and she asks if that's politics or fear. Realize I don't know. She says, maybe I need to figure that out. Start doing things alone, but differently. Go to museums, not to critique the colonial gaze, but to just look. Take myself to dinner, not to perform independence, but to enjoy food. Walk in parks, not to reject domesticity, but to just be outside. Slowly start to enjoy existence outside of analysis. 3 months after starting therapy. Angela and I have become real friends. She's also in therapy, also questioning. We meet for coffee every week, talk about politics and feelings, theory and life. One week, she tells me she's going on a date with a woman she met at a bookstore. Says she's terrified, but also curious. I feel happy for her, and also envious. Tell my therapist about the envy. She asks what it means. Say maybe it means I want connection too. She asks what's stopping me. List all my political reasons. She listens and then asks again. What's stopping me? Realize it's just fear. Download a dating app that night. Set up a profile with recent photos. Write a bio that's honest. Feminist, working on being less defensive, figuring things out, swipe through potential matches. Women, mostly, some non-binary people. Everyone looks whole and well-adjusted. Wonder what they'd think if they knew my history. Match with a few people, exchange messages. One woman named Sam asks if I want to get coffee. She's a union organizer, gets politics, but also seems light. Agree before I can overthink it. We meet at a cafe on a Saturday morning. She's easy to talk to, asks questions, and actually listens. Tells me about her work, her organizing, her love of science fiction. Asks about my life, give my usual political answers. Then pause and try something different. Tell her I'm working on not using politics as armor. Probably too honest for a first date, but testing myself. She doesn't flinch, says she respects that. Says she's had to learn that being political doesn't mean being hard. We talk for 3 hours. She asks if I want to do it again sometime. Say, yes, and mean it. Date Sam casually over the next few months. She's patient with my tendency to analyze everything, calls me on it when I do it, but gently. You're doing the theory thing to avoid just being here with me. The first time she says it, I get defensive, then realize she's right, apologize and try to stay present. Appreciate her directness. Mike was never this direct, always accommodating. Sam has boundaries, states her needs clearly. It's easier than I expected, knowing where I stand. 6 months after starting therapy. Therapist asks what I've learned. Say I've learned that I can hold political analysis without it consuming everything. That being vulnerable doesn't mean abandoning my values. That connection doesn't require me to give up my feminism. She asks how it feels. Say scary, but also lighter. 8 months after the Facebook conversation with Mike. See he's posted wedding photos. Beautiful outdoor ceremony. Jessica in a simple white dress. Mike in a suit, both of them glowing. Study the photos, looking for my own feelings. Wait for the pain, the jealousy, the political critique. It comes but softer than expected. Mostly, I feel happy for him. Genuinely happy that he found what he needed. Comment on the photo. Congratulations. Wishing you both every happiness. Jessica likes the comment. Mike replies, Thank you, that means a lot. I hope you're doing well. Realize I'm doing well. In my own way. Not perfectly, still struggling, still questioning. But doing the work of learning to be both political and human. Tell my therapist about it in our next session. She asked how I felt. Tell her surprisingly, okay. She smiles and says, That's significant growth. Asks if I've thought more about what I want. Say I want to keep seeing Sam. Want to keep doing therapy. Want to stay political, but make room for other things too. She asks what's different now. Think about it, trying to articulate. Say that I used to think having a political analysis meant rejecting everything else. Now I'm learning it can be one lens among many. That I can see structures and also see individual people. Can critique institutions and also participate in relationships. Can be a feminist and also be someone's partner. Therapist asks if I'm ready to end therapy soon. Say not yet, still need the support. She nods, says we can continue as long as I find it helpful, year after starting therapy. Sam and I are having dinner at her place. She's cooking, I'm chopping vegetables. Realize I'm happy in this moment. Not performing happiness, not analyzing happiness. Just being happy. She makes a joke and I laugh. She looks at me and says, I love that sound. The word love makes me tense slightly. She notices, always notices. Too much? She asks. Shake my head, try to relax, just not used to it. She nods, doesn't push. Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. We eat dinner and talk about her organizing campaign. I tell her about work, about Angela's new relationship. Normal couple things that used to feel suffocating. Now they just feel nice. Tell her I think I'm falling for her. She says she's been falling for me too. Asks if that's okay. Say yes. It's okay. More than okay. That night, lying in bed next to Sam, listen to her breathe, feel her warmth beside me. Think about Mike in his house with Jessica, both of us in better places than we were. Both of us finding our versions of happiness. Wonder what would have happened if I'd done this work while we were married. If I'd been able to hold my politics more lightly, maybe we'd still be together, or maybe we needed to break so we could each become who we needed to be. We'll never know the answer, but can accept that this is how things unfolded. Mike with Jessica, me with Sam. Both of us more whole than we were before. Close my eyes and feel something close to peace. Not the false peace of political certainty, but real peace that comes from integration, of politics and personhood, of analysis and feeling, of feminism and love. Spent so many years thinking strength meant needing no one. That political consciousness required isolation. Now understand that real strength is holding complexity, staying political while staying human, still scared sometimes, still catch myself wanting to retreat into theory when things get too close. But I stay now more than I flee. And when I do flee, I come back. That's progress. That's growth. That's enough. 1.5 years after starting therapy. Angela gets engaged to the woman from the bookstore. The collective has mixed reactions. Some women are happy for her. Some feel betrayed, like she's abandoned the cause. Angela and I talk about it over coffee. She says she used to think marriage was always patriarchal. Now she thinks it depends on what you make it. That 2 women marrying isn't the same as heterosexual marriage, but also that even heterosexual marriage can be different if people work at it. That structures matter, but so do the people within them. I tell her I think Mike understood that better than I did. That he knew he couldn't dismantle marriage, so he tried to do it differently, while I rejected it entirely and called that radical. She asks if I regret the divorce. Think about it honestly. Say no, because I wasn't ready to be married to anyone. But I regret how I did it, regret using politics as a weapon, regret not seeing Mike as a person separate from structures. She says, regret can be productive if we learn from it. I agree. 2 years after the divorce, run into Mike and Jessica at a farmer's market. Didn't expect it, would have avoided if I'd known. But there they are at a produce stand. Consider turning around, but Jessica spots me. She waves, friendly and open. Walk over, because it would be weird not to. Sam is with me. I introduce her. Mike introduces Jessica, though we already know who each other are. Awkward moment of standing there. Then Jessica, bless her, asked what we're making for dinner. Sam launches into a description of her pasta recipe. The four of us end up talking for 20 minutes. About food, about the weather, about a new restaurant. Normal conversation, no tension. As we're leaving, Jessica says we should all get dinner sometime. Expect Mike to make an excuse, but he nods. Yeah, that would be nice. Exchange numbers, make vague plans. Walk away with Sam. She asks if I'm okay. Realize I am. More than okay. Feel grateful, actually. Grateful Mike found happiness. Grateful I'm finding my own version. Grateful it's possible to hold political commitments without them destroying everything else. That night, tell Sam I love her. First time I've said it to anyone since Mike. She says it back. We sit in comfortable silence. The kind I used to fill with analysis. Now, I just let it be. Think about the journey from there to here. From using feminism as armor to using it as one tool among many. From seeing oppression in every gesture to seeing both structures and people. From isolation as purity to connection as possibility. Tell my therapist all of this. She asks if I still consider myself a feminist. Say absolutely. But differently now. Still analyze structures. Still see patriarchy. But also see individual humans trying their best. Still critique institutions. Still work for change. But also participate in those institutions while working to transform them. Still believe the personal is political, but also believe the political doesn't have to consume the personal entirely. She asked what I'd say to my younger self, the one who thought political clarity required emotional isolation. Say I'd tell her that both and is possible, that she can be radical and connected, feminist and in love, analytical and present, that the work isn't choosing between politics and life, but learning to hold both, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Therapist smiles, says, I've come a long way. Agree. Still have far to go. But that's okay. The work continues. Living and learning and trying to do better. Holding complexity instead of fleeing to certainty. Staying human while staying political. That's the work. That's enough.